Welcome back. Today we're doing something a little different. We're going to take apart a specific male leadership training program. But here's the twist. We're not here to judge it or say if it's good or bad. Instead, we're just going to break down its structure, its educational blueprint, you could say. And we're doing this using only the words from its own training manual.
I mean, think about it. How do you teach someone to be a better leader? That's a massive question, right? There are literally thousands of books and seminars out there trying to crack that code. But today, we're not looking at all of them. We're going to focus on just one specific approach and really dig into its logic, using its own documents as our map.
Okay, so first things first. To really understand how any kind of training works, you have to start at the beginning, with its core premise. What's the central idea it's all built on? What exactly are they trying to study here?
And here it is. The source we're pulling from today is an excerpt from a module called Strategic Dynamics of Male Leadership Decision-Making. Now, just to be super clear, for this whole explainer, we are only looking at what this document says. We're trying to understand the logic it's presenting on its own terms.
So right away, you see how incredibly specific this is. The module isn't about leadership in general. It's not even about decision-making as a whole. The text says the focus is laser sharp how a male leader makes a decision. That tight focus, that's the absolute foundation for everything that comes next in this framework.
Okay, so if the subject is that specific, male decision-making, then how does the training actually go about, analyzing it? Well, it turns out it lays out a very particular method for doing just that.
The source text tells us that the participants are taught to look at the strengths and weaknesses of this process. It's a pretty classic approach, right? You put things into two buckets. The goal seems to be really clear. Figure out what's working and what's not. It's a very direct way of looking at it.
But here's where it gets interesting. You don't just identify these strengths and weaknesses in a vacuum. The module brings in a specific comparison, a sort of lens, to help generate those insights.
And this is really the engine of the whole analysis. The source document says it right there. Understanding comes after understanding the differences between male and female during decision-making. So that's the key, right? The way you get insight into one style is by putting it side by side with the other and seeing what's different.
So let's recap. We've got the subject, male decision-making. We've got the method, comparison. But so what? What is the person taking this training supposed to do with all this information? And that brings us to the module's ultimate goal, which is all about taking action. And the training manual is super clear about this. This isn't just about learning for the sake of learning. The source literally promises that you would be able to overcome the weakness a male leader has. So the whole point is to make a change, to turn what you've observed into real self-improvement.
So if you step back and map it all out, you can see this clear three-step process implied by the text. Step 1, understand the differences between how men and women make decisions. Step 2, use that comparison to pinpoint a specific weakness. And finally, step 3, take action to overcome that weakness. See how it all connects?
All right, so we've walked through the whole chain of logic here, from the initial premise all the way to the final promise. Let's take a second now to put all those pieces together and just look at the complete framework we've uncovered.
So here it is, the whole educational model in a nutshell. According to the source material we looked at, this training, 1, it focuses specifically on male decision-making. 2, it analyzes that through the simple lens of strengths and weaknesses. 3, it gets its insights by comparing it to female decision-making. And 4, its final destination, its whole purpose, is to help the participant overcome those weaknesses.
And that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. Now that we've taken apart how this educational framework is built, piece by piece, the real question it leaves us with is about its foundation. For this logic to even work, what does a framework like this have to assume about leadership and about gender in the first place? That's something to really chew on.